Hello and welcome back to the Waffle House. This is a weekly sort of free-flowing podcast or recording between myself, Joe, and my brother Dan. If you like the content, then press like, subscribe, and leave a comment. But with that said, nothing we say in this is advice. We're going to just talk through some random stuff. We're just chatting away. Hello, Dan.
Yo, hey, you good?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we
yeah.
discussed, I think, this time around, we sort of thrashed out our running plan the first time, and then sort of free weights the second time. And a major component to this is diet, which we haven't really gone to.
On the fitness side of things, we
Yeah. So I think it's only fair that we get into that a bit.
yeah,
You did bring it up the other day as well. I could see you smirking
yeah.
there, like I just stole your idea.
No, no,
But,
no. No, I'm smirking because I'm just quickly reflecting upon my diet.
okay. Okay. Um, shall I go into mine first, or do you want to hit fire?
So yeah, go on. What are your thoughts on diet and how are you doing?
Well, I
What
think
should you be doing and what are you doing? What do you think you should be doing and what are you doing? I suppose that's a good way of talking about it.
yeah. So should I think there's a lot of the chat you get on YouTube, whether it's PTs or if it's sort of maybe it's actors who are then passing on this advice because there's so much attention about how they got in shape and how fast they did it. So you get them every now and then. You get snippets of, I don't know, Hugh Jackman or um, Zac Efron or Ryan Reynolds giving a bit of advice. And what to be fair, and I kind of agree. What they do tend to say is how important the diet is, and how the diet might take up, if you had to put it in percentage, maybe 70% of
Yeah,
shape looks like. But having said that, these were guys that were in the process of getting ripped and trim rather than bulked up, like, huge the whole sort of, sort of size or shape. But so that's the should. That's what I think.
the Hulk was CGI. Just
Yeah.
in case.
I was on about Edward Norton and the shape that he got in. And what's his name? Mark
Did
Ruffalo.
he get in shape for that film?
To an extent.
Or do you mean that Ed Norton turned into Mark Ruffalo and that was the workout? That was all just a
Yeah,
workout.
pretty much, yeah. But I think, and then what I do and what I practice. Um, well, I've been doing for almost a year now. I think I started this about April 2020. So it was I think it's advertised as 602, or maybe it's called 2600, 26. Who knows? Anyway,
So
basically, you're
I
supposed
think
to
it's called
do.
the 552 diet. I thought you did.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it might be that, but it was advertised as either 600 calories for 2 days a week, or I think they said for men 800 calories, and so you pick 2 days a week, and that's all you eat, 800 calories in that day. Um, there's no there's no sort of spacing to how you're supposed to eat those meals necessarily, and then it's quite general. It's just, make it as healthy as you can, but the idea is, that's it, 800, and when you count them up, you really do feel it. Yeah, so I've been doing that as a fair test. I've been doing that for it's been 11 months, and yeah, with the target of getting rid of some sort of baby fat. It has, yeah, it is worked to an extent. Trousers are looser, and I can definitely, yeah, it's definitely had an effect. But this has been mixed with exercise as well, obviously. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've been doing. I was going to
What do you
say,
do on
actually.
those? What do you do on those days? So I get it. You do 2 days a week where you have like way fewer calories, but do you basically not exercise on those days, or are you able to like
Um,
do your job properly and stuff?
the first 2 months, I was probably sort of trying to make up for the calories that you didn't eat. So let's say I did it on the Monday. The next day, I was eating more than I would on a regular day. I think that was kind of natural. I think in your mind, you feel like you need to almost gain back those calories. And I wasn't working out on those strict days, but that's changed. I think it's almost after 2 months, it becomes kind of normal, and you don't necessarily eat more on the off days, and you can go for a run on the days when you're doing that 800 calories. So it's actually just just total benefit now because it's become a lifestyle, and I think that that's the approach. If people can take, that's the best one to make it a lifestyle.
Do you pick particular days of the week that you do this on?
Yeah, typically Monday and Wednesday. I think it's just the idea of getting it out the way. I must admit, still that still features a big part in my mind. Want to get it out the way, so it's Monday morning. You want to enjoy the weekend a bit more and be able to do, less.
Yeah, I was thinking I wouldn't want to do it on the weekend because you might go out for more meals on the weekend, that type of thing.
Yeah, well, you'd have to pass on a beer, I guess, if you put it on the weekend. It's just
not if you just had 2 beers and that was your entire daily calorie intake.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. I think a Domino's takes up about, well, what is that? That's probably about 1,500 or something. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, easily.
How many calories
easily.
that is, but it's just insane. But the last part I was going to say on that is actually it stirred up a bit of controversy recently because it was I think it was Michael Mosley that
TV
got the
person.
Yeah, got the idea from, and he brought it up again recently, and yeah, there's been almost 2,000 complaints, and it was on this morning because people are just saying that he's
what are they complaining about?
They think it's dangerous, but I just think they're not. I don't think they really listen to him. He wasn't necessarily saying eat whatever you want, and he certainly wasn't saying do this every day. I think people were missing the point. But they're just saying it's dangerous, and other people were sort of pointing out that it's insensitive to eating disorders and so on. But I don't personally agree. I think it's what a lot of people need. I think it's a good idea if you can manage it, and I think most people could. So, how about you?
Honest, I mean, I kind of the point about eating disorders. Probably you could argue that it's insensitive to people who don't eat enough. That type of eating disorder. But also, I think overeating is also a type of eating disorder. If you just feed yourself, emotionally eat and feed yourself, and you're obese and you eat loads,
sure,
that is a form of eating disorder. And this is probably kind of a handy way to, if you can do this and try this, your method, probably good to help that. So I don't know. That's just I don't know. That's probably just a very easy thing for someone who doesn't like that idea of doing this or doesn't agree with it. Easy thing for them to say, So
sure.
I don't put much behind that. Yeah, okay. Well, that's quite interesting. Maybe I'll try it actually, because I mean, I've done like intermittent fasting for years, like I think probably 4 or 5 years now, where I don't have a breakfast. I start my food later in the day and then I finish it early. So I eat in an 8-hour window, and I pretty much eat whatever I want in that 8-hour window.
Yeah,
I've gone through periods of like just having 2 meals in that 8-hour window only. I've gone through periods of like counting calories. And I must admit, the counting calorie side does 100% work.
Mm-hmm.
The intermittent fasting, as in eating within an 8-hour window each day and having no calories outside of that, does work. And I think it is good for you, but it's not like a one shot. You're guaranteed, because I got down to a certain like body fat percentage with that, but didn't go much further than that. I think actually counting calories does like play a big part. And obviously that's part of what's beneficial about what you're doing as well. You're physically stopping yourself from having like additional calories. So anyway, that's what I'd like to do. That's what I try. That's what I think is right for me, is like some form of intermittent fasting with, lots of different types of food, loads of vegetables, lots of meat, just like a typical healthy thing. Reduced carbs. I do believe in reducing carbohydrate intake if you can. Not that I do that very well, but I do believe in that.
Is there a day off?
No.
Apart from maybe Christmas and a birthday sort of thing. There's no. There's basically this is Monday to Monday to Monday.
Yeah, Monday to Monday the next year. Yeah. It goes on, but I found it hard to start with. Like you said, I found it tricky the first couple of months, maybe first few weeks. After that, it's so easy. I basically forget that I do it. I can easily eat now like all my food within a 6 to 8 hour window without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm not massively consistent sorry, I was just going to say I'm not massively consistent at the moment with the lockdowns and COVID and all that sort of stuff. I'm not. My diet over the past like year has fluctuated. Like sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's pretty poor, and I'm definitely packed on the thanks to the times where I've been like not very disciplined.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's what I tried to do.
I think that's the thing. I think that's maybe what people find so scary. And I don't know if it's some of the words that I've used or you've used, but I'm just going to say this word because I think it's true, and I think it helps. But it forces. I think that's a word that people might not like, but it forces you to sort of behave and be strict on yourself for in my case 2 days a week, and in your case yeah, pretty much every day. But that force ultimately leads you to, when you do have an off day, you don't go off the wheels, off the track, because it's like
Yeah.
it's your body has literally just had to acclimatize and change. So you don't really suddenly want to have a whole pizza. And what we were doing a year before this or a few years before this was pretty crazy anyway. You know,
Mm.
the amount we ate. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of necessary.
I, the other thing I was going to say as well, I think a lot of the different techniques that you could talk about, or we could talk about. So you and I do different versions of intermittent fasting, basically. Or you could do like a keto diet, or a paleo diet, or a vegetarian diet, or a vegan diet, or the Atkins diet, or you can list all the different things, different types of diets you do. Liquid diet, no, slim fast. There's loads
Yeah,
of
yeah,
different
yeah.
types of diets. I think, and to an extent, to probably a calorie restriction, that's another type of diet as well. But yeah, all of the techniques, if you stick to them, will probably work. I think the point is all of them, and any and all of them would work. The
Mm,
thing that is key for me, and I've thought about this quite a bit, is it should be whatever you can stick to. Like if you can do something and stick to it and maintain it and keep that going,
yeah,
then that's going to work, because you'll be able to be consistent. You'll be able to do it for 2, 3, 4 months at a time without breaking the rules too much. Anyway, so that's called adherence. Like how easily can you adhere to a diet? And then the thing that I like about either form of intermittent fasting, yours or mine, is that both of
mm,
them actually the rules are so easy to follow. I don't have to read the packet to say, oh, has this got a thing in it that I'm not allowed to have? Do I have to look up a special recipe to cook all my meals in a certain way? Like you
mm.
don't have to do any of that. It is just on off, as in very binary. You're either eating in that time period or you're not eating in that time period. And for you, it's I'm allowed to eat a certain number of calories a day. And you must have like on your fasting days, on your 600 calorie days, you must have
Mm.
like your go-to foods on that day where you're like, okay, that day I'll have this, that, and that's my calories. Because that's so easy. Like you'd have to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I agree with it, but I found what I do tend to do is I eat an astronomical amount of cheese, and
Is that what on your fasting days?
um, no. So
Oh,
so before this diet, I was just eating cheese almost every single day, and it's as nice as it tastes. It's not really the thing you should be doing in your 30s, but
it's
basically
not the most healthy, but yeah, fine. If
no,
you
it's
like it,
not.
whatever.
But what I sort of promised myself was and maybe again people might think this is a little bit too far or crazy, but I d- uh, I don't really, I must admit I don't really enjoy these 2 days a week. Obviously I prefer to eat other things. So I think to myself, look, I eat a lot of cheese, so why don't I just take the day off when I do this thing and just not have cheese? And because it's so easy as well for cheese to, you add it to this meal and you've probably just pushed another 150 calories on top, and you may have pushed it over the top of the 800 you were using as the guideline anyway. So I kind of just
So
look at it.
what's in your 800 calories? Tell me what you would. Do you have a like a set
Um,
thing that you'd have?
so it's pretty much normal coffee, no sugar, but I'll add the milk. That's probably about two a day, and a cup of tea. So no added sugar, just with milk. That's fine, I think. We had a book and it actually said that was about, I don't know, 20 or 30 calories. It really wasn't much. A piece of toast for breakfast with jam, no butter. And then I've been having like toasted sandwiches for lunch, and it's literally 2 pieces of bread, a bit of butter, turkey slices or ham slices, and they're pretty low calorie meat cuts with lettuce. Dinner, if we've sort of prepared meal, then it would be salmon, grilled salmon with veg, no carbs, or well, I should say very low carbs. You know,
And that's it.
no rice and no potato and so on. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And then a lot of water. So that's
Interesting. All right.
yeah, that's about that ranges from 600 to 800. So depending on which one you go with, but that brings me to 800. It's almost never over, to be fair. Kind
I'll
of
have to give
safe
that a go.
within that. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a try for sure.
yeah. So all right. Well, I think we should probably move on to a bit of news that's been in the week. I'm not sure if you've heard about this. This is for once I'm not going to bring up Australia. This is we're back at home
Uh-huh.
news. Yeah,
Back in the UK.
So,
News in the UK.
yeah. So Meghan and Harry, they guns blazing with Oprah.
So
I don't
they
know what
had.
you. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what you feel
So
about
let's set the background. Go on.
I don't. Well, I don't know what you feel about. This is not so much about Meghan and Harry, but Oprah kind of. There's been these figures that are released that she made from the CBS interview, and it was in the ballpark of like £5 million, which is about $7 million US. I don't think she did her job. She didn't get. I don't think she got straight answers out of Meghan or Harry. Two very key questions that she didn't get answers out of, and she was quite happy to let them get away with. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sure. But so I mean, Oprah is a very successful presenter, right? She's super uber successful. I don't think she's like a type of journalist like I don't know, like Jeremy Klaxman or Emily Mathis. Like those two, like they're like Newsnight reporters, aren't they? Or they'll really grill someone. They won't let them get away without answering a question. I don't watch a lot of Oprah, but I've never known that really to be her style. Or certainly for the Meghan and Harry interview, that wasn't her style. She didn't like grill them and like challenge them and really hold them to account or hold them to the word of their answer for sure. But yeah. So basically, this is the week where Oprah interviewed Meghan and Harry. So
for anyone who's living under a rock or just woke up from a very long
if you're watching
sleep.
this in like 4 years' time and you're thinking,
yeah,
what's going on?
They did it again. Well, they might do, to be honest. They really might. But okay, so there's quite a few things, but if I'll try and stick to my main ones. But there's the tone. Meghan saying, I think that most people, I think she said most people expected that it would be like a fairy tale marrying into the royal family. I couldn't bear those sort of comments from her and how Oprah sort of was just eating that and nodding along, like it almost felt like they agreed that that's the assumption for anyone who's she's what is she 33 34. I mean, American or not as well. I just feel like she knew exactly what she was in for. I think that's the feeling for
I can imagine the average like non-UK citizen having a view on what the royal family, what the British royal family are like and what that world is like, which is completely out of whack with what most of the British public think. I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. I find it hard to believe, like through their dating period and through all of the time they spent together, that she didn't learn enough about what life would be like on the other side.
Yeah,
I think that's certainly one thing. But on the other hand, I can also completely believe her when, like, all of a sudden after they're married, she has like a mental health issue, and in the mental health issue that she's never had while she's been part of this family or experienced while she's part of this family, they weren't that family, the institution, whatever, the firm weren't supporting her. I can see that being a surprise. I can imagine her being like, okay, I know, I get it. This is a job, and I have to act a certain way, do a certain, be a certain way, be in certain places, watch what I say, dress a certain way. I can't turn up to events wearing baggy pants and a hoodie type thing.
Sure.
But I think the thing that might have like really shocked her, and that she wouldn't have thought of, is even at my lowest, even when I'm like mentally depressed and suicidal,
Mm.
there's not much compassion here, or there's not much support anyway.
Sure. Sure.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and we're in the age of social media and so on. I just feel like I just feel like she knew she was going to sort of marry into this family. Okay, mental health issues are big, but I still just feel like she didn't need to bring this out in an interview. And also, I people might strongly disagree with this as well, but I think she spent 2 years after marriage in that family, and then when they decided to leave, only about 9 months later, has made this interview. It just seems everything just seems a bit soon and almost forced, and I don't know. I've got to ask as well what you make of well, the fact that Harry so Harry basically is the one that heard the comment that they're claiming to be racist.
So before we go to that, on your last point, you were saying that you don't think she should have done the interview. Because so let me play devil's advocate, because I'm not just playing devil's advocate. I do believe the other side, to be fair. So like, she was basically trashed by the UK media and treated unfairly. I think she was treated unfairly. If she wasn't treated unfairly, she was definitely treated not. She was treated. Okay, never mind by the media, by the royal family. So the royal family like have pretty much protected Prince Andrew, and we all know what like he's been accused of and all the stupid interview stuff he's done. He's been broadly protected by the royal family. Whereas Meghan's argument was that in the media, all of her like news and stories and everything were all negative about her, and she didn't get that support. And I think that's ridiculous. I think if anyone like is more annoyed at Meghan for speaking her mind and telling her side of the story than they are at Prince Andrew for being Prince Andrew, then
Sure.
it doesn't add up. It's double standards.
Yeah, no, but I'm not saying this is what you've just said, but a few people have, when you said Prince Andrew, but a few people have made the argument, what about Prince Andrew? Well, wait a minute, what about Prince Andrew? And I get it, but my answer to that is that we're not saying that by speaking about Meghan and Harry that it's worse or that it's more important. There's time for both stories. There's time for every story. And there are some people have made the comment that they think that Prince Andrew's got off scot-free because it's not in the press at the moment. But
he's still a prince. He still has his title, still has his security.
Sure, but I was going to say that's sort of a legal case. I think it's still ongoing. I don't think that's over. Personally,
no, it's not. No, it's not ongoing because they won't let the FBI interview him. So they've stopped it from being ongoing. The FBI won't.
Oh, okay. I thought that lady still had. I thought she still had an ongoing case where she was building against him. But
she has, but that he won't go to the States to testify. Okay. The FBI have requested him for interviews, and he hasn't obliged. Anyway, okay. I mean that's kind of a side point. I don't mean that there's not time for two stories, as in to talk about Andrew and talk about Meghan. Yeah. I just mean that if you look at the treatment. So if you were Meghan and you were like, and you genuinely felt like you were being treated unfairly, which you could argue she has been by the media and by the family.
Sure.
You'd look across at Andrew and be like, wait a second, why am I getting all the heat here? When all I've done really is want to do my own thing and not be treated unfairly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm getting loads of heat and I just doesn't add up, to be fair. So sorry, to the other thing, whether or not I think what you were going to ask about the racism.
I was saying that yeah. So Harry heard it and then relayed it to Meghan. I was just going to say, well, whether it's true or not. I mean, don't you think he's pretty bad for not just saying who? I mean, if I told you I've heard the worst rumor in the world about you. It's just a massive rumor. Something, you know, it's almost like playground sort of thing, and it's like when
Yeah.
you're like dying to tell who. This is quite important as to who this because you know you're telling me it's this biggest thing, but you won't tell me who. You know what I mean? That's how I felt.
I don't get it. I don't. I must admit, I don't understand why you would, because essentially it would be bad for that person. Is like, well, of course it'd be bad for that person, but they've done a terrible thing. They hold horrible views about race. So,
But by not,
uh,
but by not narrowing it down or just saying who said it, he's left obviously the world guessing between um three or
a
four
bunch of
people.
people.
Mm.
Yeah, no,
I
I don't know. I think it's even, I don't see it that way. Well, I kind of agree with you, but I more see it at the point of it's almost like he's protecting that person, which is like,
mm,
so you're going to criticize them exactly what they say, but you won't, but you'll protect
yeah.
them and not say who it is. That I don't get. I'm sure there's reasons. I'm sure there are reasons, but
Mm.
there's a big part of me that's like, I don't really understand why. I don't know. It just doesn't quite add up to me. It doesn't seem like something I would do anyway. Um,
I think his conduct was just ridiculous. But both of them, hers for I personally thought overacting along with Oprah, and I thought Oprah sort of fed off it, and then I thought Harry's conduct about basically a little bit of hiding behind her. Turning up halfway through was strange, but they must have all agreed to it. But that was just a very strange style of interview, and then
it was so, I think it was so that he couldn't be asked about that. It would feel more normal not to ask him that question about the family member, the racist
okay,
family
okay,
member.
okay, fine. But if you remember at the beginning of the interview, Oprah said very clearly to Meghan, we haven't agreed what questions I'm going to be asking. So
Oh
that
yeah,
just means that was a bunch of shit. Um,
yeah,
I was going to say one last thing about the chickens. I have to mention the chickens. I couldn't. Okay,
I didn't
like
like the chicken scenes.
yeah. Also, when as cringy as that was, I'm not sure if you can you remember what Harry said. I'm pretty sure he said, or it might have been Meghan when they were filmed with the
I did see,
chickens.
I did see Harry going bark, 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 bark to his
Oh no
chickens.
no no! No, it wasn't.
Is that
It
what he
wasn't
was?
that.
Was that the quote?
No. It was I think it was Meghan saying, "We just look at this. We just enjoy the simple plain life." And I thought,
Oh yeah.
fucking hell, woman.
Living next door to Oprah.
The simple, you're calling that this as the simple plain life. Basic. I think she used the word basic actually. Man, there just must be a bunch of
No, I
like,
think I can't remember exactly. I think it was like an authentic life or something like that. And
hmm,
yeah, I'll admit that a little bit. I was a bit jarring to me. I was like, I don't. I mean, whatever. I don't think that's very the right accurate way to describe it. However,
hmm,
I'm way more on their side on almost all issues. I do think there are like some issues on like some things that were said that I kind of don't think were quite true, as in factual statements about whether or not Archie should have been born a prince. I don't think as far as I've read, I don't think
yeah,
she was right about that.
hmm,
Which then makes you think, well, hold on, if you got that wrong, if you got that detail wrong, are there other things that are also not 100% accurate? But with that all said, I
hmm,
do think like I think it's important and it's good that someone in a position where you're like in amongst a really powerful household and in the spotlight, you can say, oh yeah, by the way, I felt really shit. I wanted to kill myself. I think it's a good place. Is in I think we should be in a world that does that, and I think it's brave to do that. But
hmm.
I'm not quite as cynical as you are. Like I think you basically thought you were watching a soap opera, whereas I'm not quite as cynical as that.
Can I raise? I want to raise one more point.
Okay,
It's petty, but I think it's still worth pointing out that
didn't like her dress. Is that what you're going to say now?
no, so basically, Oprah asked Meghan about a time that she made the time that Meghan made Kate cry,
Mhm.
and at at that point, Meghan said no, and that didn't happen. I just think a reasonable person could have left it there, but she chose not to. She said the reverse happened, the reverse,
Yeah,
and then that led Oprah to say the reverse, and sort of
and then
and then it led
yeah.
to her saying actually yeah, so she made me cry, and then a little bit later on,
But I think that's not the
um,
point. But I think that's not the point, though. I think the point wasn't to say, "Oh, she made me cry." I think the point was to say, "Look at how I'm being treated." Someone made me cry, and it comes out in the media that I made them cry. That's almost like the news story about Prince Andrew being turned around that he was a victim of something. It's like it's almost that bad. It's like imagine if the press were all reporting, no, he's innocent, he didn't do anything wrong. Actually, someone did something wrong to him. Like you'd just be like, I'd be out of my fucking mind. What are you talking about? So if I was in her position and that did happen, I'd say it.
Yeah, I just think a better person would be. Sorry, I'm not saying that you're not, but I just think the better person would just it should be good enough to say no, that didn't happen. You don't then have to say what I don't think you have to then say what did happen. Personally.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But
Maybe
that's just
you
mine.
have a point. Maybe
That's
a big or right thing to do could. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe you shouldn't necessarily turn around and say the exact opposite thing happened.
And let's be honest. And I know this sounds like I'm being really sort of biased, but there can't be as a response as nowhere near as big or captivating as that was on the side of William and Kate. They I just don't think they can grab the audience like that. They can't. Their conduct that they have to sort of hold.
What do you mean?
Abide
Sorry.
by. I mean, it's quite easy leaving. It's quite easy to leave Scientology and say whatever you want on a podcast. Tom Cruise can't just, he can a little bit, but he's not gonna just riff and say exactly what he wants. He follows the conduct, and that's right.
You think
I'm comparing this to Scientology,
thing. Right? But Carrie did say that my brother and dad are trapped. They're trapped in the system. He said those words, which is exactly as you're saying. Yeah.
Tom Cruise is trapped. Yeah. No. Yeah. Fair enough. It's a big topic, and just they were my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I agree. Your thoughts are wrong.
Right. So I think we should get to something positive in the news. Something that I've been looking forward to for absolutely years. It's the release of a certain movie, Mortal Kombat.
The Godfather, just like goes Godfather and then Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Shawshank Redemption, Godfather, Mortal Kombat.
Well, yeah, Vito Corleone, Scorpion. I mean, the two best villains, I think, in movie universe. So basically, that'd be
a good mashup, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Get over here in an Italian accent, which I'm not going to do.
Over here.
So I've literally been waiting for this since after seeing Annihilation, which was admittedly not a very good film, but I loved the first one in 95. Annihilation in 97 wasn't great. I can't remember how old we were or what year it was when we saw it, meaning when Channel 5 obtained the rights.
No, I think we got it from Blockbuster.
Okay, so pretty sharp then. But I loved the first one, liked the second one enough, and then I don't know if you knew about this, but they were going to make one called Devastation, but because funny title, but because Annihilation did so bad, devastatingly bad, they scrapped it. There were rumors actually about the New Orleans disaster that actually was part of the reason, but I think it was mainly actually down to the
Hurricane Katrina.
I think it was down to the poor critical sort of response release of Annihilation. But this one looks really good. You and I think we both saw Rebirth, which was about 10 years ago. That was like a web series, mini web series that they did.
Yeah. Was that fan made?
No. It's an
official series.
Yeah. I think it's kind of canon-ish.
Maybe I didn't see it then. Anyway,
okay, I'll throw those links at you. But they did a mini series and it was good. But they anticipated that same director would turn it into a movie, but they just halted it for ages. And James Wan, I think, who was behind some of Fast and Furious and I think Aquaman, some other movie titles, is in the producer role for this. And I'm not sure, but I think it's an Australian director that's directing this. But the cast is good.
So sometimes I would say this. I will say sometimes you see there's like a good name attached to a movie, like a producer, like a good director or a good writer attached as a producer to a movie, like even Chris Nolan. You're like, oh, well, Chris Nolan's involved.
Yeah.
And you'd literally never know. You would never know because they've got producer credits. Is like, I don't know what that guy did. Did he I don't know, did he just like sign off on the poster or something, or like
Yeah,
what was
yeah,
his actual role? But
that's true.
anyway, when I saw you sent me the link to the trailer.
Mm.
It looks really good. It looks like a good, like well-made film. But I guess nowadays, like CGI is good enough to create that really well. Because if you think about the concept, like people, ice balls, fireballs, and stuff, it's hard. It's been hard to do that for a while, really convincingly on a decent budget. Like on
Mhm.
a, it's quite expensive to do it really well. Whereas now I think you can do that quite reasonably.
Yeah.
So they've got a good shot at making a decent movie.
Yeah, I think so. I think a big issue Annihilation had, and you can hear a lot of like sort of online reviews about this, is sadly it was in the age of where CGI was in its infancy, and they were
Yeah,
really just, they felt like they had to put in this explosion at certain times, and they looked crap, and it was just bad. And yeah, their budget wasn't very high as well, but you don't really need that higher budget now.
exactly.
It's sort of
Yeah,
a thought. If the fan base is there and it's very much there, and there's a bit of money, then it's just about the timing, and I think that's now. Yeah, it looks good. It looks.
when does it come out?
It's in April, but I can't remember the date exactly. But can't. I also can't remember what platform. It's Warner Brothers, so I think that might be HBO Max.
It's going to be soon then. It's soon.
Yeah,
How do we get that
yeah.
in the UK? How'd you get that in the UK? Do you know?
There's some select theaters, but that's probably just the US. At this rate, I'm not sure. I think you can. I think maybe we could just sign up to HBO Max, just do a month or something.
Yeah,
I'm not too
I
sure.
might have to do that. I might have
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah. Okay, but yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. Anything else? Anything else you see in the news, or anything else you wanted to chat about before we go? I think we're wrapping up in about a minute.
Yeah. So no, I want to see that film. I watching the first one when we were like kids. It just
Mm,
brings like a lot of memories of yeah, those like really over the top characters, but done in quite a dark and cool, interesting way. And playing the
yeah,
games, like the games are like absolute, iconic
yeah.
games that people play. So yeah, I'm super mega excited. No, maybe I'll just wrap up by saying if anyone's got any recommendations or requests for things for us to talk about, whether that be the movies, like fitness stuff, news items, any comments whatsoever. If you don't like my voice, don't like Dan's voice, let us know in the comments. But please hit like and subscribe. Dan, anything from you?
No, that's it. Yeah, let us know what you think, guys, and we'll be back next week.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.